Hi there, sopranos of the Stay-at-Home Choir. I'm Pat, and I'm the first countertenor in the King Singers, so about as close to a soprano as we get in our group. But I thought I'd spend a few minutes sharing some ideas and some tips with you as you start to listen to and prepare and eventually record the second choir part for And So It Goes. So I've got my laptop and I've got my iPad, and I've got a few thoughts for you, some of which are quite general things about the song and how we approach it, and some are really specific things to watch out for as you start recording. The first general thing I was going to say is that as you listen to it, you might notice that we give a lot of push and pull to the rhythm of the song. That's quite stylistic for music by singer-songwriters like Billy Joel. And so don't be put off as the rhythms sway. Sometimes they'll go a little bit faster, sometimes there'll be little pauses and long breaths. So don't be too tied to the musical notation and get used to listening to the rhythm of the words. Number two is there's lots of points I'm going to make when we go to some specifics about when we can use the sound of breath to help us get together. When we're singing in the King Singers, the only way we have to come in together is to breathe and start at the same time. So you'll hear lots of audible breathing on our recording, and there's lots of chances you'll have to use that to get in time with us as we start each phrase. And the third general thing I was going to say was about vibrato. And a normal, healthy, free singing voice may well have vibrato in the tone, meaning that the pitch fluctuates up and down slightly. Some voices have lots, some voices have not very much at all. It's all totally normal. But maybe think about, in this song, the role that you have as the second choir. For me, it sounds like string textures, like a whole string orchestra happening behind the words. And so to make these chords sound really even and smooth, maybe think about a more straight and plain tone for when you're singing oohs and ahs. Now, I thought I'd get the score up and maybe go through a few places where we can watch out for easy mistakes and try and get it really neat and tidy. Okay? I'm going to use the word bar rather than measure. So if you're an American, get used to the word bar instead of measure for the number that we're on. So you guys start singing at bar 9. And your first phrase is a really long one. I'm sorry about that. You're singing ooh all the way from bar 19 to bar 16. And so we don't expect you to have an oxygen tank. What we expect you to do instead is to do some sneaky staggered breathing. And so that means taking a really subtle secret breath at some point during the phrase, but never getting left behind. So always keep the rhythm carrying on in your head. And when you sneak a little breath, just tuck it in and then come back in exactly in the right time so you're not left straggling. Now, if you wind on, we'll get to bar 19. And I want to talk very briefly about your entry in bar 20 and how to prepare for it. Because you'll see that we finish a phrase in the middle of bar 19 and we take a big breath before Nick sings his solo And So It Goes. And I don't want you to get caught out and come in with us, okay? You have to wait one more beat before you then come in. So maybe listen a few times to our phrase and Nick going, and so it go, ooh, and then you come in on that next beat. So watch out for that and use your breathing to help you. The next place is bar 21, just a little bit later. And in bar 21, beat 2, where you're singing a G, is lengthened. That's to enable Nick in his solo to take a breath before he sings, and so will you. Okay, so watch out that beat 2 lasts a little bit longer, hence the pause sign, and listen out for that. Then when we finish that phrase, we all come in together, but if my silence made you leave. And this is just a warning to listen to our breath to get that entry together. It's quite a hard thing to measure, so when you finished your ooh phrase, listen out for the breath. But if my silence, okay? And that will help you get together. Then in bar 23, after the word silence, what would be really lovely would be if we could have a totally silent pause note, rest note, I should say, sorry. So bar 23 goes, silence made you leave. Take enough breath before the phrase that you can last through without breathing there. Now watch out in bar 23, 24, 25, this whole phrase, that you're sharing the melody with the altos. They come up to join you and you can see the stems going up and down on each note. So we need to share the sound 50-50 between altos and sopranos. Otherwise, that line will be twice as loud as everything else, which is not what we want. Okay, next, if we head over to bar 35, you'll see that we have the same thing that we mentioned before. We've got those pause signs over beat 2 of bar 35, and that's to allow Nick the chance to go, and you're the only one who knows, okay? So another one to watch out for, just there. The next thing I'd like to mention is in bar 40. You'll notice that the King Singers, we are halfway through a phrase when you join us in bar 40, okay? So all I want you to do is to have in your head the sense that there's a sentence already going on and that you're just stepping onto a moving machine, okay? So middle of bar 40, be ready to come in right with us as we're halfway through a phrase. Bar 42, you'll notice we have quite a long pause, and then there's a little breath, and you can have this heart to break. It's one of the most beautiful, beautiful moments in the whole song, saying, you can have my heart, even if you're going to break it. It's such a moving sentiment. But in bar 42, we need to make sure that that's together, so the sentence starts exactly at the right time. So listen out for our breath once again before you come in on and. In this final sentence, and you can have this heart to break, it's important we don't sound too choral, too fussy, or too formal with it. So try not to go heart to break, okay? Don't make too much of the consonants. And when we sing it, we go, have this heart to break. Heart to break. We drop the T off the beginning of the word heart. Heart to break. And it helps it get together and it helps it feel a little bit more relaxed. You then hold your final chord, break, and I suggest you just fade away nicely so that when we take off, do, you just fade out and place the K of break really, really lightly. It doesn't need to be loud because the ear has moved on to something else by that point. So there you go. There's a few ideas as to how to get on with And So It Goes. And I hope you really, really enjoy learning it, listening to it and recording it. And I cannot wait to see how it looks. Bye, everyone.